When did you begin to compose your own songs?
Back in school, man. So I did it, I think, more out of fright than anything else. It was my first time. I must have been, 13 or 14 years old. I wrote a song about my mom.
So coming to bass, what is your typical set?
So I like to keep it very simple. For me, the source is all that matters. Fender P bass and a Fender jazz bass.
So it's just.
I don't believe in processors.
So, Osi, tell us about that one show which you thought was amazing.
It had to be my recent gig at Fandom. So it had to be that gig because it was a delight to hear the crowd sing the songs. That was the real moment, and I just feel it's been worth the while. I've been more than close to 35 years now in the scene. This takes the cake for sure.
Hey guys, welcome to the Art and the Culture Tribe, the podcast series. I am DINKAR NAYAK, your host. In this podcast, we talk about the art, the artists themselves, the process, and the stories that come along. So today we have with us an amazing artist. He's a bassist, he plays the guitar, he writes his own songs, and when he was a kid, he used to play the drums. So let's not waste more time and introduce the first guest of our episode today, Osi Gomango. So let's welcome Osi Gomango. Osi,
Hi
welcome.
guys. Thank you so much for having me, Dinkar.
You're most welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good. We are so honored to have you in the first episode of this podcast series.
It's my honor, my privilege, because it's my first time as well.
Anyways, how was your EP pre-release gig? How was that going?
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, we got a great turnout, and there was a buzz around the gig for some reason. I don't know what, but having a turnout of 150, 160 people on a Sunday evening for an indie band, it's not that common. So yeah, I'm very happy. Yeah.
Amazing. We're so happy, bro. So we'll ask you a few questions, and the first thing is, how did you get into music? I mean, during your childhood, what made you lean towards music?
So as a child, as a kid growing up, I used to have a lot of music playing around me. Back in the day, I'm talking about 70s. The radio was the only source of music. So
Yes,
it
I
used to be a
agree.
lot of filmy music back then. But at the same time, in the evenings, my mom and my friends and all, they would tune into a special band called Radio Ceylon
Okay.
back in the day. So and they used to play all the stuff from overseas, like I used to hear bands like Eagles and Steely Dan and so many other bands. But back then I didn't know the names. But I guess subconsciously the music was filtering in already over there,
Nice.
So that's how it all began for me.
Okay.
And then eventually I joined boarding school in Calcutta, and
Okay.
so I was very lucky because in boarding school they always encouraged us to pick up an instrument. You know, so the motto of the school was a music a school without music is like a body without a soul.
Yeah.
So that was the go-to phrase, and that was what we were sold on. So I quickly got into one of these things.
So, Osi, which was the first instrument that you picked up when you were?
It had to be the drums, as far as I remember. So used to play in church and stuff like that, for Sunday masses and
Oh,
all.
right.
Yeah, so that was the first instrument I actually got into playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you moved to bass, or
No,
were
bass
there?
was way later, yeah. And after that, I got into I started picking up the guitar,
Okay.
you know, because a lot of guitar players among the boarders and stuff like that, my common friends, we used to have a clique, we used to hang out together. So that was a second instrument I picked up because it was easy access. People would actually show me chords and stuff like that. Small fingers, so back then I used to struggle a bit. Bass I picked up very much later, just before when I was in class 9, getting
Okay.
into 10.
Okay.
So I must have been what, about 14, 15 years old back then. That's when I actually picked up bass.
Okay. But you also play the guitar.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
do. That's my primary instrument for writing songs.
yes. I think when we saw you perform with the Riverman band,
Oh yeah,
yeah, you were with your
couple of years back.
yeah,
Yes,
that was a
yes.
great band, bro. I
Thanks,
loved
man.
it.
Thanks, Dinkar. Thanks a lot.
So, you know, what was your favorite band when you got into playing drums? What bands were you listening to then?
Back then, anything that made sense to me. So in boarding school, as like I said, we were really encouraged into music, and we had a person who was taking care of the hostel, the boarders, and every Sunday we would have free time where music is to be blasting in the study hall. So I was exposed to bands like Eagles, Donna Summers, Beatles, and Michael Jackson, and stuff like that. So all that was seeping in, and I would just absorb it.
Nice. So, when did you begin to compose your own songs, your own music? When did that happen?
Back in school, man, I remember having a competition. It was a very hurried up competition, but they told us, directed us to write your own song, lyrics,
That's a
lyrically
great
and
thing,
stuff
right?
like.
When somebody tells you like, try
Yes,
and write your own song.
yes. So I did it. I think more out of fright than anything else. You know how it is in boarding schools.
Yes.
So yeah, so I think that was my first time. I must have been what, 13 or 14 years old. I wrote a song about my mom.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
Do you? I mean, I'm not going to ask you perform, but do you still remember?
I really got no clue, but I'm sure it must have been a bunch of chords picked up from some cover I must have heard. You know, I mean, back then it's just getting your things together,
Yeah,
right?
but I
So
think revisiting those things, it's like down the memory lane. It's amazing, right?
absolutely, man. That's a
Crazy.
great question, yeah.
Yeah.
What a memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Someday, probably, you're gonna make a song out of it. I'm just hoping for that.
I just hope it comes back to me.
Yeah.
Really, I hope.
Amazing, bro. So coming to bass, right? What is your typical setup when it's a studio or when it's a live performance?
So I like to keep it very simple, Dinkar. For me, the source is all that matters. My go-to guitars is a Fender P bass, which I have stringed with flat one strings,
Okay.
and a Fender Jazz bass with round one strings. So my preference is I go directly into the board or through a DI into the board.
Nice.
Only the tweak needs to be done post that.
Yeah. So it's just
I don't believe in processors.
okay.
The tone is all in the
In the
fingers.
guitar itself, that's the tone,
Yeah.
right? So, um, any when you compose, that is your own song, the approach that you use right now, how different it is when you composed, the song for your mom.
So yeah, so that would have involved a lot of years of music hearing, you know. So initially it was just about a bunch of chords, but then as I started growing up, and listening to a lot more music available back then, what really kicked me towards it was the arrangements around the
Okay.
song. It wasn't just about the lyrics anymore. It was about what was happening behind that. How the keyboard player was moving with the chords, what the drummer was doing, what the bass player was doing. The bass player wasn't hitting the root note, he was hitting a substitute. And I started questioning why is he doing that? And then I figured out, okay, that's a color, that's a substitute note. And then that would add a lot of color to the actual chord,
Oh yes.
you know.
Yes.
And then the keyboard player playing inversions doesn't have to be the first or second inversions, some other inversions, just making it sound very, very interesting.
Inversions surprise you, right?
Inversions,
Sometimes.
they are magic, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
They're magic.
sometimes when I used to jam, I used to play with Naveen Thomas, right?
Oh, what
So
a guitar player.
I
I
think
love him.
that man has the tones that he sets is amazing, and then the colors that he had.
Beautiful.
But yeah, he plays a lot with inversion, and it's magical on stage.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. And when you collaborate with different artists, say it is not exactly your composition, somebody else has composed, and you've been asked to be a part of the collaboration. So how does that work, and how different is the process there?
So that process is a lot different in the sense uh, I'm collaborating with somebody else. Suppose say you've written a song, so the focus of attention turns to you.
Okay.
Now I need to understand what you are trying to portray, what the song means to you, and what's the kind of music that you've grown up listening to.
Yeah.
So then I can get a clearer picture and maybe contribute. The idea is to be able to contribute,
Yeah.
not force something down somebody's throat,
That's
for
true.
whatever reason.
That's true.
So the idea is to be totally compatible, get into the space, into the pocket without being intruding, and just contribute quietly, get in, get out.
Correct. So, OC bro, you have done gigs in India, but you've done international shows as well. How different is the management of the show? I mean, how easier is it for you to, play the gigs here with the setup that we have here, or is it well managed outside?
I have to say outside, man,
Okay.
outside India, they're a lot more organized. They've got personnel for everything, for sound, even somebody to get you coffee, you know, and the accommodation, your logistics, everything taken care of. They are very well
The
rounded.
support system is.
The support system is solid, so so the stress factor is really less. But out here, man, is mostly DIY. Do your own thing.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, by the time you get on stage, you're in another frame of mind because you would have had to take care of a lot of back
Yeah,
end
I
things.
think, yeah, so I think we have to, because performance is also about your mental state on stage, and you have to forget everything and just focus on the performance.
Absolutely,
But
man. Ideally,
yeah, and when you do all these things,
yeah,
you are kind of tired.
it tends to
Yeah,
take it away from
yeah,
the
yeah.
main thing. Yeah.
So, Osi, tell us, tell us about that one show which you thought was amazing, that just blew your mind, and you probably didn't expect that to happen, because that happens when you perform. Any show that you remember, or a moment on stage that you thought, okay, I'm so happy I'm doing this.
It had to be my recent gig at Fandom
Oh,
on the 22nd of September. I think you were
yeah, I
there
was there. I
also.
was there,
Yes,
of
I saw
course.
you. So it had to be that gig because it was a delight to hear the crowd sing the songs. I mean,
Only you.
sing the chorus, only you.
Yeah.
What I did actually was I tried something. I experimented on the day of the gig. I posted a story just with the chorus,
Ah,
and I sort of hinted at the audiences, just listen to the song, and it would be great to have you guys sing. So they actually did,
yeah,
a little
I
bit of
was there.
prompting here and there, and they actually did.
Yes,
So
yes.
that was the real moment, and I just feel it's been worth the while. I've been more than close to 35 years now in the scene.
Amazing,
This
amazing.
takes the cake for sure.
Amazing. So now, since you talked about your new band, tell us a little more about it. How did all this begin?
Yeah, so this began my new band, Juxtaposed. We formed in March 2024. That's a couple of months back, I think
Okay.
5 months back.
Okay.
And so initially it was just a core piece, just four guys, just the musicians. Jamie on drums, Joshua Ashish on guitar, Joshua Pereira on keyboards, and me. So I wrote an instrumental called Bounce with these guys in mind,
Okay.
you know. And that was the first video we put out on a YouTube channel.
Okay.
And after that, we haven't looked back. And then I started looking at singers, who would suit a kind of music, because I do all the writing in the band. They're all my songs.
Amazing.
So then I started looking out for singers who would fit the profile
Okay. Do you
and
also write parts for musicians, or it's the.
everything,
Okay. Wow.
everything,
Okay.
lyrics to the last crash to everything. And
Okay.
then I take it from there.
Okay.
My band is very musical. I'm very lucky to have musical guys. So you just tell them once,
Yeah.
they take it in, and then they interpret it their own way, which is
That
even
is
better.
nice. Yeah.
You know.
And watching them live was such a delight. I
Oh
mean, watching
yeah,
you guys live, basically.
they are an eye opener, man. They are my lifeline. I learned so much from them.
Right? And I think, since they are younger musicians, their approach to music will be, how do you think, is it more technology driven, or they're just
They are very technologically driven,
okay.
for sure. But at the same time, they also know how to step back.
Mm-hmm.
If you give them, if you paint a picture out for them, they know. Okay, fine. This doesn't require this. Doesn't require that.
Yeah, correct.
But it definitely helps
Yeah.
being tech savvy.
So, you've released your first single, and it's amazing.
Thank you so
And
much.
one of the surprise element was Tony Das singing the song,
Yes,
and
I keep getting
he's
that.
done a phenomenal job. I mean, I've heard him sing, right? Sometimes, I think it was on Facebook that would tell him, "Can you please sing Chris Cornell the song?" And
Right.
he's a big fan of them.
Yeah.
But then actually listening to him on a proper record was amazing. So I think we should thank you for that, because that has happened now. And yeah,
I should thank Tony for that because I got him literally last moment
okay,
on the morning. because I actually tried singing the song. I thought maybe I could pull it off, but no, it just sounded very blah to me.
Okay.
So on the day of my last recording date at stain class, I called him and he was at rehearsals.
Okay.
And I said, Tony, so and so, the scene is pretty urgent. And he said, okay, fine, just shoot me the song. I'll check for the key. Because it was way too late to change keys.
Correct. To
Pre-production
match
had
the
already been
yes.
done. So he just heard it. He texted me back saying, the key is good, but I'm not confident. I said, I'm not confident. I'm very sure. I said, you just come to the studio and do your thing. We'll take it from there. And he walks in at 4:35 and nails it like a champ.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is a good song. And so how many songs do we have in your EP? Because I know that you're going to release your EP soon.
Oh, with my band?
Yes.
Yeah. It's an EP of 4 songs. Yeah.
And what are the songs about? If you can just give me, what have you written about?
So one is an instrumental, like I told you, it's called Bounce.
Bounce, yeah.
It's about being very playful. It's about all of us having fun. Mostly the instrumentalists having fun,
Yeah.
doing a thing. Chops and arrangements and stuff like that. Basically going to town, enjoying ourselves. The second song is called Moving On. Moving On is basically like a love ballad. You know, like how it is when you're young, you fall in love, and
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time it doesn't work out. You think it's the thing, but it doesn't work out. So it's all about moving on from there. Then the next song is called September. I wrote the song in September. That's why I called it September. But of course, it's very heavily influenced by Earth, Wind and Fire, one of my favorite bands.
Okay.
And it's very funky. It's got a lot of brass sections and stuff like that. And it's basically a party song. You can just play it in your house. If you feel like dancing, you just put it on and can start grooving to it.
Yeah.
So that's the vibe.
Nice.
And then I've got the last song on the EP is called Evolution. So in this song, I talk about basically how time is evolving, how technology has come such a long way, and yet trying to connect to it the old school way. And the groove is very old school funk disco vibe, and yeah, that's the whole gist of the EP.
Amazing. So I think it's releasing on November.
Yes, November.
Is a date fixed or
Not really.
not yet? Okay.
I'm just touching up, tweaking things here
On
and
the
there.
mixes and
Yeah.
so did you have a producer for this or was it
No,
completely?
I'm the producer.
Okay.
Everything. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Have you worked with the so I'm asking this because sometimes you write a song and you work with a producer and you have something in your mind, but sometimes producers they have a different approach
Right.
and they change. I will not say they change it for the bad. That rarely happens, but they change it for something that you've not expected. Has that ever happened to you?
No, that's never happened to me.
Okay.
I don't think that'll ever happen because I like to have total control of my songs
On the songs.
because
Yeah.
I'm a producer in the head
In the head.
actually. I
Yeah.
may not be having the experience, but I know what my songs should sound like.
Sound like. Yeah.
I'll probably take inputs from people, but the moment it's de-aligning, that's when I know. Okay, fine.
Okay.
I just need to focus on what I feel is right.
Okay.
And most of the time, my gut instincts have never let me down.
I think yeah, just following your gut pretty much solves all the doubts that you
Of
have.
course,
So,
for sure, for sure. Because you're the person writing the song, right? You know your sound in the head. There's nobody else who can do that unless you've been around like forever. Oh, the guy is a genius, like a Quincy Jones or something. Yeah.
Quincy Jones, of course. So how many hours would you spend practicing, in your early days, and then what is it like now?
I would spend hours, and that's not changed one bit.
Okay.
I will go back home now, and some point in the evening, I'll spend 2 hours or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
Just
With all the busy schedule that's out there, meet people, jam,
Yeah.
try to get shows confirmed, speak to the organizers. With all that, you
Yes.
spend 2 hours.
yeah, that's my me time. I just try and play and make some noise generally, and yeah, man, that's been like forever. I'm a creature of habit, and I'm very consistent.
Yeah, I think consistency is the key.
Yeah.
That's where everybody, that's how I think your success kind of differs. If you're not consistent in what you do,
Right.
and just do it for the sake of it, yeah, it's going to get
But
lost.
if I'm writing a song, if I'm
Yeah.
in the creative space, oh, that takes me time.
Okay.
Just to write one song, it probably take me about 20 days
Mm-hmm.
minimum, because I take my time.
So right now in the EP, you've told me that you have 4 songs, but I believe that you have written more songs.
Yes, I
Uh,
have a full album length.
okay. And how many would that be?
I've got about 35 songs.
So that's like part one, part two, part three, like so many
Yeah, I've,
songs.
I've got songs. So
Amazing.
I just pull them out of the kitty, whichever one I feel is appropriate, and tweak them around a bit.
Was the process same when you were writing songs with the Riverman band?
Yes,
Yeah, the
very
same
much.
process.
Very much. I would lock myself up in my friend's studio. Luke, my
Yeah, the
friend. He
bassist.
was there the other day.
Yeah, yeah. The amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I would lock myself up in the studio for hours and just work on my songs. And that's how it all started. Basically, Roman band at least.
Nice. Um, okay, so now you're in a place where you have had a lot of experience with working with different artists, different composers, different bands, right? What would you suggest to the younger musicians, or artists who want to get into this? What would be your suggestion to, like, to have them believe in themselves and like just start making music? How would you?
Absolutely, man. If you're really interested into music and doing music, make sure you do your due diligence. Practice if that's what needs to be done. You know, and listen to music, different kinds of music. You see where that leads you, and give a shot at writing your own tune. No matter if you're young, but at least you've started somewhere. That's where it all starts. And then somewhere down the line, you'll probably get your own sound.
Yeah,
So that's when you sort of reached a place where you can actually branch out. Start experimenting, taking ideas from all your influences, and then putting it together under your own umbrella. But it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
yeah,
It takes you years. It's taken me 35, 40 years to get to where I am.
correct.
So ideally, just follow it up. You need to believe in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
ton of self belief,
Mm-hmm.
and be consistent, like I said, and show up.
Yeah, show up. Yeah, that's important. Like,
Yeah,
suppose you're committed to a time, be there
absolutely,
absolutely
man.
on
It's
that
so
time. And that is
important.
something few of them do not follow, which, I've seen that. And I
Great.
think if they change that, probably things will change for them as
I'm
well.
sure, man. I'm
Yeah,
sure. Maybe just they just need to be pointed out to them.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you value everybody's time,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just yours.
Absolutely. It has to be. I mean,
So, Osi, which are the songs that have inspired you? When I say inspired, that is probably, it can be to write your own song, or it can be probably to, practice that particular guitar solo or a bass solo, or the way the bass was played. And something that was like, man, this is something that I want to do. It may be a couple of songs, but if there's any song that you really went crazy, and even to till date, that is still relevant to you.
okay. Off the cuff, bands like Eagles. i- The song name is One of These Nights.
Okay.
The bass line, boom, 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 stuff like that. And plus, the entire songwriting, the whole song, in terms of arrangements and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always something I wanted to do. Like I told you, arrangements are more important to me than
Yeah.
the lyrics
The
or
lyrics.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then Michael Jackson song called uh, "Just Beat It Over There" and "Off the Wall,"
Mm-hmm.
and then Earth, Wind and Fire. After the love is gone,
Mm-hmm.
September, Get the Groove Tonight, and Shaka Khan, Ain't Nobody. You know, just these are basically songs which I first heard and I was like, wow, this is what I want to do,
Correct.
because very bass heavy songs, and it's good to have, if you're a bass player, it's good to have nice parts,
Yeah, of course.
because at the end of the day, you're carrying the song. You between you and the drummer, you're
Absolutely.
carrying the entire weight.
The groove is set by.
Yes,
I mean,
you're a bass player. You
yeah.
understand.
For me, I think bass was an absolute accident. So I used to play rhythm, and my friend was like, you just play the root note of the chord, and you're fine. And then when I tried, I'm like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was fun. So
yeah. I got
jamming.
in, I got into bass playing like you, something similar.
Yeah. So, Osi bhai, who are your favorite indie artists or bands that is here around?
Oh, industry, I love them.
Oh yeah.
I had a good. I was fortunate enough to open for them
Oh, nice.
twice in Calcutta once and at Indie Rock Rang Bhavan, the early editions
Okay.
back in '94. So I love them. They were so good, and I mean the album Trapped and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even the Evolve, the other album, brilliant. They've inspired me a lot, and uh, and the other band, I think I should trip on one song. I forget a band called Zero
Okay.
and uh, and 1380
Oh yes, of course.
back in the day. I used to really love them because I saw them live a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and a band called Shiva from Calcutta. They wouldn't do originals, but they were fantastic live. So, I mean, I grew up in Calcutta, so I actually grew up watching them, especially the bass player, Mr. Lohilt. I should just watch him on stage. I still stand like him.
Okay.
It's just a subconscious thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So yeah, there are the few bands, man, and they've shaped my entire career, my life, my sound in the head, what I should be sounding like. You know,
That's amazing, like how artists can actually inspire you to do something of
of
your own.
course,
Yeah,
you don't need to look overseas for that. There are people around you. You just need to pay
absolutely.
attention.
Yes. And that's what I think the audience should push themselves to go to these gigs and figure out that how live music is going to change a lot of things for you,
Of course,
because
man.
that
It's
experience of watching the artist live, because anything can happen in that moment. You might have heard the song in the record, but sometimes something different is going to happen on stage, and
absolutely
that's the thing about live.
that's magic, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. So, Ozzy bhai, this has been amazing. We are so happy that you agreed to do this podcast, and this is the first episode, and we couldn't have
It's
got
my
someone
pleasure.
better.
It's the first time, and I really wish you guys all the best.
Thank you so much.
You
Thank you
know,
so much.
go places because it's a good thing happening. No, very few people. I don't think anyone's really doing this. You know, getting into the
Independent
details,
music.
nitty-gritties of independent music.
Yes.
It needs to be done.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I came into the scene 2013, and I've until then I was listening to music that was film mostly. I knew Raghu Dikshit, but then when I came here and I started going to these venues and I saw so many amazing artists, I was blown away. And anyways, I hope I will be able to get them here, and we'll just have
Yeah,
discussions like.
look forward to seeing a lot more podcasts. I mean, yeah,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
my pleasure.
So that was the video for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, and press the bell icon. We will see you on the next episode.